let's go ahead and get started, Caro. Thank you so much for joining today. I know that the community here at Sidewalker Daily is going to be so thrilled to learn about you because you are a force. You are a force in so many ways. But of course, I'm sure there's people listening or watching that are like, who is this amazing woman? So could you start off by telling us just briefly a little bit about yourself and the type of page that you run?
Well, my name is Caro Meija, Mama Caro Meija. That's how everything started on Instagram. But I am well known as La Mama Latina, which is the name of my brand. I am a journalist. I've been creating content since I was 17, just in a different way, okay? So I talk about motherhood. My message is delivered in Spanish, 100%, but my niche is the Latinas in the United States. And the Latinos that communicate in Spanish, that feel more comfortable in Spanish. So
I love that. That's like all my mom friends. I'm like always sending them your stuff. And there's like a few other girls that I'm like, watch her stuff. This is us. This is us. And I'm sure you get like a ton of shares on your content.
Yes.
It's so shareable.
Yeah.
But when you decided to kind of do this, right? I think a lot of creators want to do, they all have dreams, but it's hard to press go. It's hard to start because we all have ideas, but how do we like actually get them on? So I know you've been doing this for like a while, but specifically Instagram.
Yeah.
What happened that kind of got you saying, I would actually do this and I'm going to do this for real? Like walk us through that. Was there a decision? Was there a light bulb? Was it organic? Did you just start posting? Tell us about your Instagram page. Because I think that's kind of that's your big baby, right? That's the main. I know you have other platforms, but tell us, I don't know. Let me know.
Yes. So Instagram is my main page, I would say. That's where everything started. And there is a story behind. Yeah. So I was a mom with my 2 kids, right? And I was like, I had no idea anything about social media or anything. I didn't even have an Instagram account.
Okay.
So everyone had already. I didn't have.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a smartphone. Okay. And this was not very long time ago. I was focused on my kids and my home. But one day I wrote a book, Lionheart Goes to School. It was a book I wrote for my own child because he was that child that cried a lot and had a lot of separation anxiety going to school. So I wrote this book for him and it worked wonders. Like it really is a book that it changes a lot of lives. It does. So I wrote the book and I tried to sell the book. But of course, I didn't have social media. Mm-hmm. I had no idea what I was doing. My book it really came from my heart. Mm-hmm. It was not, I didn't think as a businesswoman when I created that book. I just wanted to help other moms.
I love this.
So my husband, who is in business, but he is not in social media, right? So he doesn't know much about social media, but he's in business. And he said, let's hire a marketing company and see how they can help us. So they tried. And then one day just turned around after knowing me and my story and my family and my kids. And they told me, you started the other way around. You created the product, but you don't have the community.
Oh my gosh.
You need to build a community. And that's the way it is done. First you build a community, then you have a product. You did it the other way around. So let's do it right. Mm-hmm. You need to build a community.
So that was like that moment.
That day they told me that. I'm like, what do you mean? I had no idea. I didn't have a social media account. Uh-huh. I didn't have
community.
An Instagram. Like, what do you mean? A community.
Yeah.
And he says, you need an account on Instagram. And at that time, TikTok didn't exist.
Yeah.
And you need an Instagram account where you create a community. Who's going to buy this book? Moms. So you need a community of moms. And at that time, I thought, I didn't see myself as a leader of a community of moms.
Of course.
At all. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't understand. So they started explaining very little. And then we decided not to keep paying them because we were not selling the book in the way we wanted. It's like, not working.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kept thinking about that. By the time I was traveling with my family, doing volunteer work, and I was in a remote town in Brazil. I mean, the story is a book.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm like, oh my God, I need to create a community. I am in this town in Brazil with no shoes, helping to build houses and libraries and feeding people. How?
Yeah.
So I started going into these YouTube videos.
Okay. You started your
Yeah, I started like going in the internet, like, how do I create a community?
Yeah.
And I just grabbed that thread and started like, taking it. Yeah, and I'm like, when I started listening to these seminars and workshops, I did it all. I did all the workshops.
Yeah.
They work. Just look where my account is.
Of course. You
They
invested
work.
yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
So I started like, and when I started listening to all this, I'm like, I've been creating content since I was 17.
Yeah.
So I worked on television.
Yeah.
And I worked behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, producing, editing. I'm like, I know how to do this.
Yeah.
I just have to
Be strategic.
do it
Yeah.
in a different medium, in a different platform. But it's the same thing I've been doing. So I started so I opened an account and I started looking into other motherhood accounts, especially in English, because I'm in the United States and I don't know. I got inspired by American bloggers, American mom bloggers. And one day I'm like, well, how am I going to call this? And I said, I don't know what is this going to be. If it's going to become something, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to use my name and then I'm a mom.
Yeah. Put it together and make it happen.
So Mama Caro Meija, and that's it. And that's how I started. Creating this community of moms that want to do things differently than our previous generations. That's how it started.
Yeah.
But then life happened and it became something bigger and something fun and something that is more myself.
So just based on what you're telling me,
Yes.
I want everyone listening to really take a big key takeaway is that this woman had a plan. She didn't wake up and say, choo, 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 like post. She was like, no, I have to figure out how to develop community. I need to do research. I need to do this seriously, right? So from the beginning, you treated this as a business.
Yeah.
Because I know when we talked before, you were like, some people just like happen to become influencers, not overnight. You're like, I had a plan.
Yes.
I want to talk about that because I think people have to really be intentional when they're starting their businesses because guess what? You're an entrepreneur. And so
I am not.
But you're not. But you are now. You're owning your business.
I became it.
Right?
Yes.
And that's why I think that I would love to kind of talk about like that intentional, this is real. So did you give yourself like a time limit where you're like, I'm going to test this for a couple of months. I'm going to give myself a year. I'm going to produce 3 times a week. Like now that you got into the trenches, did you have like an actual plan or okay, go. I want to hear.
Yes. And very clear. So when after I understood how to create a community on the how to, basically, like the theory, I said, okay, I need a plan. So I want to have this community of moms, but I need to have 3 pillars. Okay, so what are my 3 pillars? What am I good at as a mom? Because you can be the mom that cooks.
Yeah.
You can be the mom that does all the manual, like the
crafty
mom.
Yeah, totally.
You can be the fun mom that goes to all the parks and all the Disney and all the stuff, which I knew from the beginning I am not the Disney mom. I am not. And anyone who knows my boys know that we're the real thing. Like we travel and we do crazy things.
Yeah.
So we're not Disney family.
Yeah.
So I started like, okay, this is not who I am. This is not who I am. So who am I? It's a very interesting. What kind of mom am I?
Yeah, truly.
And what do I want to inspire other moms to be like, well, what is that I'm doing good here that I can share? So I am the conscious mom, that's for sure. I am the conscious mom that wants to do things differently than our previous Latina moms.
Yeah. But also based on your book, right? Even just that is a sign of that.
Because my book is it talks about emotions. It takes a moment to acknowledge that my child is having a hard time. My mom would be like, don't cry, stop crying. It's just in school, okay? Stop it. And no, so I am another generation. I want to do things differently. I want to raise boys that are more connected to their emotions. So I'm like I said, so these are my 3 pillars in the beginning, which I think they're still even today, those pillars. And then I said, okay, I'm going to create content 3 times a week.
Okay.
For 2 years, non-stop. And I told
we just have like a moment for that? Because let me tell you a lot, and we're going to talk about consistency, because I know that is a hard goal to achieve.
And I did it.
Holy moly.
I did it. I did it religiously.
Oh, I have goosebumps.
Like I was on, I had an objective. And when my husband is an influencer job or creator job is a very solitary job.
Yeah. Super isolating. We're like by ourselves and like from home. It's like super sad. I get it.
It is.
Yeah.
So my husband is my partner. He became my team. So I told him, so I'm gonna do this 3 times a week for 2 years. If in 2 years I haven't reached 10,000 followers, I am gonna go back to television. I'm going back to television. I'm looking a job as a journalist. I'm gonna write for a newspaper.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just do what I used to do before. Okay, I'm gonna be an employee again. And I didn't want to because my kids at the time were 4 and 6. And I just wanted to be there.
Oh, that's freedom. That is freedom.
Be home. Yes. So I was just, inside of me, I was praying that it was gonna work, but I didn't I put the objective and then I let it go. So I was not thinking about it anymore. I was in the daily. So I had the big plan, let it go, put it somewhere, told my husband, wrote it down. And then I'm like, okay, I don't want to think about that. I'm going to think in the today. Like today is the day I'm going to create content. So today, and then the next day a break, and then the next, and then I started having most reacted from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then
like refreshing. It was like a very refreshing.
I was doing myself.
Yeah.
I was traveling at the time. So in the beginning, it was a lot of curiosity about this family, they're in Brazil
with kids,
yeah. Their kids are without shirt and without shoes, and what are they doing? So I think in the beginning, a lot of the moms that follow from the beginning were curious about, you took your kids from school for a year to take them to okay,
we're gonna have a sidebar conversation because I am in this moment now. I'm gonna be like, tell me everything.
Yeah, that's another story. That's a whole book.
That's a whole book.
That's a whole book.
But this was kind of like your beginning, right? This is where you're people are watching you. You started to create. You built this goal: 10,000 followers, 2 years, 3 times a week, right? So I
actually reached the 10,000 before.
I know, and that's what I want to talk about, right? So where are you at now in this journey of 2 years? Did we already hit the 2-year mark, or are you already past the 2-year mark? And what is your community like now? The size.
So I've been creating content that was 5 years. Okay. So it's been 5 years.
Okay.
So I said that. So when I reached the 2-year mark,
where were you at? I'm like, where were you?
You know what? My husband is the one who knows the numbers by heart.
No, it's okay.
But it was beyond 10,000. It was beyond.
So that you were I had gas to go. I got gas to go.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So and then the other thing I did is that I said, if I reach 10,000 in around, whenever I reach it, that was beyond in how long, in the time that it was gonna take me.
Yeah.
I am going to open a blog. I'm gonna start a blog to give it more. To give it a landing page, a place where people can see more of me, of what I do. And I'm a journalist, I'm a writer. Mm-hmm. So I said, I want to take this beyond the little short things you can show on social media. Social media is the peak of the iceberg. There's going to be content underneath.
Totally.
To be a real creator that has it's a long-term thing. Yeah. So I did have that.
Infrastructure.
I had that. So when I reached the 10,000, I opened La Mama Latina, and at that point, I'm like, what's the name of? What am I creating here? Mm-hmm. That's when I said that. I'm like, okay, this is starting to be serious. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to make a little bit of money. And that's the other thing. When I created my Instagram account, I wanted to sell my book.
That was the goal.
That's all I wanted to do. And now I'm making way more money than what I can sell all my books and not even make close to what I'm making now.
Crazy. So crazy. We're definitely going to talk about that in today, because I think it's an important conversation to have.
That was a surprise. That was something that was not planned.
But that wasn't part of the plan.
It was not part of the plan. And then as I got into this influencer world, which I have, as I tell you, I have no idea. And my only intent was to sell my book to my mom, having the same struggle that I had with my own son. That's when I'm like, so you can make money? Like, besides like selling a product, like what is this? So that's when I started, and I started also studying more and getting more educated about these worlds. So listening to podcasts and doing more workshops and
that's the thing that I think we always think, right? To make money, you got to spend money. You have to invest in yourself. You have to be reading and into it. And like, I think that's a lot of what we do at Sidewalker, right? So that's our goal here, is to also help people constantly like on the business side. But you brought up money, so I say we go for it. I say we dive into this, and then we can juggle this conversation around. But I think a lot of creators listening want to know, like, how do you monetize, right? Like, what are the different ways that your company now, because you're your own brand, your own company, brings in revenue? What are the different ways?
There are different revenues.
Yeah.
So of course everyone knows, and everyone is behind the collaborations, right, with the brands, and that's a huge part. And I would say that's a big chunk.
Would you say like 80%, 50%, 70%?
I would say is 70%.
Okay, so 70% of like the brand deals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And brands want to reach the Latino community, the mom community in the United States, and they have the money. And there is another, and this is a big secret.
I like it. We're getting it first.
This is something that I don't know if other creators know, but the brands that pay me the most, that they don't even ask me how much I charge. They just tell me this is the budget, and it is way bigger of what I would tell them to pay me.
Yeah,
is the nonprofits.
You rocking my world. Because I would have not.
And then I'll tell you why they reach to me so much. Because I'm a minority. I am. So they want to. So this is how it is.
Yeah.
The government has money that gives to these nonprofits to reach the Latino communities, the Black communities, with different topics because they have to.
It's like part of their grant
structure. They have to spend that money. So they give, for example, they give it to the American Heart Association.
Okay.
And they have this budget specifically to reach the Latino community because the Latino communities, we have the cholesterol to the roof.
Yeah.
It's a huge problem in our community. And so they need to reach the community. So they look for the influencer
that has that audience. Wow.
And they don't ask, they seriously, this is serious stuff. The first time these nonprofits contacted me, I thought it was a scam. I was at the museum with my kids, and my husband and I read this email, and I'm like, Amor, is this for real?
Yeah, like
they're offering me this kind of money? Is this a scam? And he read it, and he's like, no, this is for real. So, and it was a nonprofit. And then from there, I started to getting more, because then you get into this like world.
And where other nonprofits
other nonprofits started looking at this girl did a campaign with the American Heart Association.
Hold on. This ties in so good with you, because you're saying, like, years ago, you're in Brazil, you're building libraries. Like, it's not like random for you and one of your pillars, because I feel like this is part of like your vibe too. So it's a really good fit.
It is. I talk about, so I used to be a journalist, and I used to be in an immigration journal.
Yeah.
I know my community, my undocumented community, my community that comes here to like work 3 jobs a day. I know that community. I am part of that community. Because when I was a journalist covering immigration topics in English and Spanish, I was in the heart of that community. So I am always sharing things that can help them. I am always talking to them in a way like, hey, take advantage of this. You can do this. Your kids have the right to go to school. Your kids. So it's a little bit of, because I'm a journalist.
Yeah, so there's that element.
Yeah, it's behind my humorous message. There is always this a helping hand also.
Yeah, and that's why
that's knocking you.
And the nonprofit, that's why, like, I think the best partnerships are really authentic ones, right? And like, for example, I saw, because I was creeping on your page, you just partnered with like, you know, a travel company. Well, that makes sense because your family travels. Like, it's not inauthentic, right? The same thing is like you're partnering with a nonprofit and maybe you're like, wow, like there's a interesting angle here because it not only fits well, it's authentic to your audience and it's something that you would probably want to talk about. I'm blown away by the nonprofit angle.
Yes, the nonprofit world is huge. They have a lot of money that they have to spend.
That's the key.
Because they are being monitored. They have to spend that money on the Black community or on the Latino community or on women, like everything related to breast cancer.
Yeah.
So they have that money that they have to reach this community with this information that is always for free. And that's what I love the most. So I partner also with the Jackson Hospital. And I taught, they have these seminars, these Zoom seminars every month. And I partner with them. So what I'm giving my community is something that is for free.
Yeah.
I am not asking them to spend money. I am giving them information that is...
That's nice.
Yeah, I am adding value to their life in a way that it's a win-win.
Yeah, for everyone.
For everyone. For the nonprofit, for me, and for my community. And there is the best advice, and you haven't gotten there, but it's related.
Let's do it.
To these nonprofit deals that I do, these partnerships, is that to receive, you have to give.
Let's talk about it.
So you have to give to your community. If you want your community to be loyal, if you want your community to feel like family, that's how I feel with my community. These women are part of my family.
Like your digital aunties and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. It's like they're my mom friends. But I am always giving them.
So when you say give,
I'm always giving them tools and I'm always giving them my time. Like I've been with a mom that is struggling with depression in the middle of the night and we're chatting.
Wow.
And we're chatting because I went through that and they know. And my community knows that I know what a panic attack is. I know what it is, postpartum depression. So if a mom needs me,
wow,
I'm there. And my family knows. And my family knows that if a mom is having a panic attack, I'm gonna be there in audios, and with the audio, like, okay, breathe in, breathe out, let's do this. The next morning, how are you today?
Wow.
And that is challenging.
And let me tell you, yes, it's a job, but it is challenging. So how many followers do you have right now?
Right now, I'm about to hit 400,000.
Okay, so I always tell people, imagine 400,000 people having your phone number, right? Because your DMs are probably like, whoosh, right? Like full, right? Like full.
Yes.
And you're just...
My answer to all of them.
Yes, and exactly. And imagine what that takes.
And sometimes I have to...
set boundaries around maybe your time too, so that you're present and like all these things. And I know those struggles because I think we all face them. But how do you kind of, I guess, then set boundaries around your time to protect your mental health and your time? I know you want to give, but you are one person. How have you found juggling that space has been like in terms of just the overwhelmingness, that community of 400,000? And you're going to hit 5 and 6 and 7. And in 3 years from now, we're going to go to coffee and you're going to be like, Nita, I hit 1 million. And it's going to be, the growth will come. How have you been able, I guess, to manage along the way, that time management of keeping your community, of giving, but also like protecting yourself, your husband, your kids, like, because it is overwhelming, right? When we're always on our phones and it ding, ding, ding. And what are your thoughts on just like the mental health around the boundaries that we need as, creators that have a lot of people have access to us?
Yes. It's the biggest challenge of the job.
You would say?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the biggest challenge of the job is your mental health. So things I do not have the notifications on.
Okay.
Of nothing in my phone.
Okay.
Nothing, none. And I set times for work. And answering to my followers is part of my work. When my kids are at school, I work like crazy. Once I go pick them up, I only work when they're doing their homework or when they are, they have 1 hour a day to do video games or watch a series on the TV. So they have like technology time.
Yeah.
1 hour after they do their homework. And that's when I work with them, along with them. Like we are in technology, basically.
All of us,
for an hour. But I set boundaries of time. Like my day has a schedule. So it has a schedule, and I don't touch my cell phone. I don't turn it on until my kids are at school. Okay, now let's start. Craziness.
Yeah, because it gets crazy, and then you're like, I got 6 solid hours. Like, let's make it work, you know?
Something else is that I protect my kids a lot. My kids are not part of any collaborations, and I always tell my brands, my kids are not working. I am the one working. So if I come up with an idea that includes my kids, let's have a plan B. Because maybe my kids are not in a good mood that day. I'm not going to make them do anything. Nothing.
Yeah.
So I protect my kids. I don't show my kids
often. Yeah.
I don't show my kids only in stories. Like if we go to something at a museum and if they want to. Like sometimes they do because they're growing up. Sometimes like, can I tell your followers about this cool thing I'm doing? And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I'm always there, you know?
Yeah.
So I with my husband and I set a time, you know, like we have our dates and we turn the cell phones off.
Yeah.
Because my husband is a workaholic and I am a businesswoman. So
it's what everyone that's listening is also dealing with.
Yes.
Everyone that's listening is also dealing with these sort of situations, like marriage, protecting kids, work-life balance. I always joke, it's the pact women make with the devil, you know, like when work is good, family life is hard. When family life is good, work is sometimes not. It's really...
You can have everything.
Of course.
It is hard. It requires discipline and write down. Like you have to write down your schedule, like your timing. Like from this time, I'm going to turn it off.
Yeah.
And you do it.
Yeah. So one thing, Caro, I think a lot of people see, or maybe from the outside, they see you and they're like, she's so funny. She's so amazing. She has this big community. Like, she's like, I want to be her, right? I'm sure you have people that really look up to you. But I think me and you both know with social media, with this attention, with the good comes the bad.
Yes.
And I want to talk about how you kind of protect yourself from the forces at B, because it can get challenging. So maybe you could talk us, I know you said the biggest challenge is your community, but maybe we could dig a little into how you protect your own self from what it is that you're growing.
Oh my God. I meditate every day. I journal too. I do journaling. And I have a great partner in life, my husband, who I always talk to and express everything. I also do therapy. I really...
Same, by the way.
Yes, I really
encourage it.
I encourage everyone to do therapy, especially if you are a mom creator. Because when you're putting yourself out there with the most vulnerable thing a woman can put herself out there, which is motherhood. To be judged, to be called bad mom and worse things, when you are just sharing the most vulnerable thing. Like there is nothing more vulnerable in a woman that when she becomes a mother and she wants to protect her children and she's really trying to do her best, and then to have all these thousands of people feeling that they have the right to tell you different things, to criticize you because you're putting yourself out there. So it's like, if you don't want to be criticized, don't put yourself out there. Yes, but at the same time, I think we need to educate our kids, the next generation, to have this digital education. You know, the way you conduct yourself in the digital world says everything about you. So you're going to encounter in this digital world any type of people. And of course, they feel very courageous behind the
screen. It's easy to be like, you're this, you're that. Say it to my face. you know?
Say it to my face.
Yeah.
So I never respond to the hate. But I block people. One of my latest posts went viral. The one about the contract with my son when I gave him his first cell phone. The hate I received with that post. I love that post.
I shared it with my husband.
I think the best. I think moms loved it. Other moms criticized me, saying that 11-year-old is too young to have a cell phone. And of course, nobody is walking in my shoes. Nobody knows why I feel better that my son has a cell phone and why that cell phone feels secure in certain situations, safe. So as a mom creator, oh my God, it takes therapy. It takes a very solid marriage or a tribe if you're a single mom. Yeah, doesn't have to be your husband or your partner in life. You need support, either your family or your tribe. Like, immigrants, we don't have our family here. But I have a great group of friends that actually support me, and then sometimes and go fight
on the comments for you. I'm like, don't say
one friend is like, oh, they're attacking you. Let me take a shower, and I'm gonna make myself a ponytail, and I'm gonna fight with a few people. Like a chihuahua.
No, but you're saying something that I never thought about. And again, I've been doing this for a long time. I work with a lot of mom creators. I've never thought about the vulnerability of being judged on motherhood. Because let me tell you, if someone says one thing about my parenting, even like slightly, it just sends a jolt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are they right? Are they wrong? So I can't imagine being it's so brave, actually.
It is very brave. I really applaud mom bloggers for putting themselves out there, because I see how vulnerable you are. And even though you're doing it, because you believe that whatever your message is important and can help other people. So, for example, with that reel about the contract, the cell phone contract with my 11-year-old, I just focus on the positive, and and the messages I receive from other moms saying, I wish I knew about this contract
when I
started years ago.
Yeah.
With my second child, I'm doing differently, and I'm going to use your contract.
I love it.
So I focus on the positive, but it is part of the job. But you have to learn how to deal with it. You have to think that it's not personal.
It's not. Separate yourself from your content too.
Exactly. It's like
space.
There is one person that is me, and then there is this other persona that is creating this content. And it is crazy. And that's why we need therapy.
Yeah. It's like an acting. I love it. So one of the things I want to talk about is, you mentioned you got to be positive. Let's talk about the positives.
Yes.
Okay. Because I know I want to know, I want to talk about the first time you went viral. I want to talk about maybe your first brand deal, these big wins. Tell me about some of the big wins in your professional career as a creator. It doesn't have to be any win in particular, but maybe that first time you went viral, what was that like? For you, did you feel like, oh, I need to do more of this? This worked. Tell me about that feeling behind going viral once, because you go viral, I feel like often.
Very often.
Yeah.
Yes. There is a strategy behind it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not up. Yes.
I'd love to talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first one that went very, very viral, because others went viral, but I didn't feel that they went viral. Yeah. I have a best friend that tells me, you are your worst boss.
All of us. We all are. Yes.
And so the types of moms, tipos de mamás. So the first types of moms doing something.
Yeah.
Hit 25 million.
Oh my God.
And that was like, oh my God.
Holy, I know.
Dios mío.
Yeah.
Yes. That was the first one. And I'm like, okay. So I need to go beyond these type of moms. And then the weeks came into my life. But actually, I had the weeks.
Okay.
I had the weeks because I'm a party person.
Yeah. You're like, this is fun.
Party mom.
Yeah.
I love, yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's just made sense for you.
Yes.
So then once you said there's a strategy.
There is a strategy. Yes. Every time I post something, you have to think that, would my friends share this?
That's it.
That's it.
I love it.
Will my friends share this in their chat?
And if not,
then
I can vouch. I literally share your stuff, like in the DM, because that's how moms laugh. We don't talk all day, but we send each other 30 memes.
Yes.
Like all day. I'm like, I haven't seen you, but like if you don't get a meme from me or a video, it means like I'm dead. Because like every morning you're going to get like a joke or something talking about her husband, like talking about, just funny jokes, right? So I love that. That's as simple as that. For you, is my friend going to share this?
Yeah, my group of friends. Yeah, because I have a tribe. We call it La Tribu. So it's a group of moms. We're very different. Actually, they are the types of moms. They don't know it. And they're never going to know which one is who. Because then our friendship might end.
Yes. Because you're picking it up in group. I love it.
But I find inspiration, of course, in my mom friends.
Yeah.
My sisters too.
Yeah.
And
you just know. So you're thinking to yourself, actually, is someone going to share this?
Yeah. Is this something the tribe, my mom tribe will share? And that's what
And if it's a yes, that's like your
yes.
code.
That's what I think for Instagram. And then TikTok is just a mirror.
Okay.
It's a mirror of my Instagram, and that's because I'm a mom and I don't have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
I understand how other creators without kids can have all the time.
So that was a big win. What about like the first brand deal that you got? I think you said it was was it the nonprofit?
Well, the big number that came, and it was a collaboration, and it was with that number. Yes. It was a nonprofit.
Okay. And then what about would you say that was like your biggest win, like in terms financially? But what about a brand that you love? Like, has there been ever a brand that knocked on your door and you're like, oh my God, I love you. Like, you're like, I want to, something like a exciting win that kind of made you feel like, I'm in the right place. I am doing what I'm meant to be doing.
I feel that with the nonprofits because I'm
it makes sense.
I'm a world volunteer. Volunteering is one of my passions. I'm a journalist. So those two things that are part of who I am, I feel very happy.
Yeah.
And when I get to partner with nonprofits,
it just is like,
yes, it just blends with me.
Yeah.
When I do those, I'm like, this is the kind of content I want to share.
Yeah.
I don't want my community to spend a lot of money I don't want to show these very, like, life has to be luxurious. No, that's not
you.
Message.
That's not your message.
That's
somebody else. Somebody else can have that message.
That's not me.
One thing I know in general for a lot of creators listening that they struggle with is the consistency.
Yes.
So you've been doing this for 5 years, right? Nonstop. And we started off with our 2-year plan 3 times a week, but now you're saying you're even more than that, right? You're posting, what would you say? How many posts a week?
Well, it depends.
Yeah.
So after I reached the 10,000 and I said, okay, people like my message. People like how I deliver the message. Okay, let's continue. Let's hit 100,000. So that was my next goal. I'm like, if I reach 100,000, then I'm going to open the YouTube channel, which I did. So I celebrate actually putting more work on myself.
But it's hard because you're like, why even not waste time, but like before I invest in a new endeavor, it's an investment.
It's an investment.
It's an investment of time. Every time you hit a goal, it's like you make money. Okay, well, I'm going to buy a new property.
And talking about that, this is something very important too. When I publish my book, of course I use family money for that. For that
endeavor.
Yeah,
you have to pay yourself back.
So when I started the Instagram account with the plan of creating a community, I told my husband, I am not going to spend a dime unless La Mama Latina can pay for it. So can I use money from our family? Yes, my husband works, he provides. I could use it. But I don't. It's a way to motivate myself to like, this is something, this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
It's going to be big.
Yeah.
And it is going to support itself, and it is going to support us, and it is going to support also my family in Mexico and anyone who needs the support.
It's going for everyone.
Yeah, it's like, this is going to be a source of of happiness and abundance for more than myself. So so every time I reach a number, which is a good way to, I mean, number of followers don't,
But it's an investment. It's a time. I get it. It's like, imagine that was a milestone that you reach. It's like Monopoly. Okay, well, I'm going to buy this property because I got up to here.
Yeah.
If not, you burn out.
And even equipment. And equipment. If Labo Latina can pay for it, then I invest on equipment.
Yeah. And you probably didn't even need that when you were starting.
Exactly. So your community starts asking for more, and then you start improving yourself. Like they push and you give, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
It's a dance.
And you can grow organically.
So now
scale with that.
Yes.
So before I ask you about your future goals, I want to give some last kind of advice to people that want to start. Maybe they were you 5 years ago. What would be just some general advice to someone, maybe another Latina mom or another parent or not parent, someone that's listening? What would your advice be to either get started in this space? Because clearly you're doing something really right. Any thoughts on the people that are looking to kind of get their feet wet and do this for real?
Find your passion. Find your purpose. You need to find your purpose. What is your purpose in life? And then turn it into a channel in which you talk about this purpose. Not only talking, but for example, let's say I'm a journalist, and of course, I'm in the communication industry, and I've been forever. But let's say you make the best cakes. Okay? So how can you actually make money on social media if you're a mom that makes the best cakes? It's not only showing your cakes, but maybe why don't you show me how to make a cake? Why don't you show me how the process of creating these cakes that I am not going to make, but I love watching you making them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy the cakes whenever the occasion comes. So I think you need to, before you even think about opening an account on social media and starting this channel, because it's a channel, it's a small channel, but it is a channel of communication. What is your passion?
You know what? I'm so happy you brought this to the conversation too, because I think a lot of people are like, well, I'm passionate about so much. And so are you, right?
I am one of those people that
I like this and I like this and I like this and I like this. And I think I think people get confused around, like your page, if you go to it, it's motherhood, there's comedy, like you said, there's that volunteer element, there's the give back, but you're not sitting like cooking a meal, even though maybe you love to cook. I don't even know. Do you cook?
Yeah, I love cooking. Okay, and I share that a lot.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes, I do on my stories.
Okay, so stories. So this is the answer, guys. For multi-passionate people, use stories to share the other areas of your life, right? Use other places to show. You don't have to only speak about one thing. But I think what is interesting about how you've done it then is you've really created this cohesive brand. You're not all over the place. There's a thread that ties it all together, which is maybe shareable, relatable, comedic, heartfelt. Like those are the strings that you'll find in anything. But I think you're saying find your passion, do something that you want to talk about all the time, and then use stories to show maybe other elements of your life.
Well, the way I see it, and I may be wrong.
No, who knows?
The way I see it is Instagram is the peak of the iceberg. That's the hook. That's what, it's like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
Look at what I have to do. Look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So once I'm like, oh, I like this lady. Like, she's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. So they start following me. And this happens a lot. Like a lot of my followers say, I started following you because you make me laugh and you just make me happy.
Totally.
But oh my God, your content.
So
and they become just loyal, and that's what you want. So what I do is so the peak of the iceberg. Hello, I'm here. I'm very loud. I'm very funny.
Yeah.
It's like that's my extrovert right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Very short. I don't do anything wrong on Instagram. Okay. So everything's short and it's fast food. That's fast food. But the big meal is my blog.
I love it.
The big meal is my blog, and that's where the loyal followers go, and they follow my blog, where I talk about more serious things with a humorous style. For example, I talk about la culpa,
The guilt.
mom guilt.
Mom.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So mom
big
guilt.
topic.
Yes, but I do it in a humorous way. But also at the end, when you finish reading that, you feel good about yourself. It's like you made me laugh, but at the same time, you taught me something. And at the same time, you share that you also feel it.
And I think it's refreshing to hear you talk about the blog, because a lot of people like aren't blogging, but you love to write. So it makes sense for you,
Well,
right?
if you have a blog, then where are you going to sell people things? Sorry.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the entrepreneur in me.
Yeah.
So my blog, I share more my journalistic side of myself. I do a lot of research to write. I take it very seriously. I don't put anything there that doesn't have a source. There's a lot of research. I interview, like right now I'm gonna write a piece about how to help your middle schooler with their self-esteem.
I will be reading that.
I interview 3 experts on the topic.
I love it.
So,
This is so good.
yes,
That's so
that's
rich.
where that's meat. That's the real, that's what, when you get there and you like that, you're here, you're a loyal customer,
Yeah. Someone who's going to, like, when you do a tour, they're going to buy a ticket. If you do a meetup, they're going to be the first ones there. It's true community.
In my books, and then in my website, that's where I sell my books.
Amazing.
So all the moms are struggling with that, and then in the future, and that
Book public. We need an entire series right here. I'm like, if there's a book publisher, let's talk about this. She needs a whole series. No, I love that.
But then the YouTube channel,
Yes.
I put other type of content there that you don't see on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's more like a mom life. And it's like more like I'm 46 years old. I've never done anything on my face.
Gorgeous.
And people is like, oh my God, I want to use your cream.
Of course.
So this is my routine. Your hair.
But it's having different places for different things you focus. So like YouTube for her is this space where she shows baby frequently asked questions where people are always asking. So she can go long and take time in it.
They want my recipes because I'm Mexican and they want to cook Mexican recipes in the United States.
Yeah.
So how I love Caro's Mexican recipes because they're easy and they're fast. And
I love it. So like using these platforms strategically. Well, thank you so much for this. I mean, I feel like we could go on and on and on. But this has been amazing. Where are you going to be a few years from now? Do we have any goals? Do we have any? Where's the La Mama Latina goals? Are we getting like a Netflix show? Like what is happening?
Let's remember that the plan. Everything started with a plan. So imagine now. I started with a plan when I had nothing. Nothing now.
I love it.
So yes. So the oh my God. So right now, of course, reaching 500,000 moms following my account is something that, I'm looking forward. And I love because
should we have a big mom party when you hit it? Like, should we all go have like a big party somewhere?
Let's have a blog party.
Yes, I love it. You're gonna hit it super soon.
So something that is a dream of mine is doing more conferences.
Okay.
So taking the message that I did of my story of what I went through and how La Mama Latina was born and how from the darkest place in motherhood you can find your purpose. And that's
gonna me too.
Yeah,
I know.
Yes. So that's something that I want, as I was telling, if you learn something, you have to teach. I learned a lot during my first years as a mom. It was the hardest years in my life.
Yeah.
And I want to share that with more moms.
For that support. Yes. Yeah. You're almost like that support system that a lot of people, like you say, may not have.
Yes. And especially immigrant.
Well, anyways, thank you, Caro, so much for coming and dealing with us and sharing your wealth of wisdom. I will be cheering for you along the sidelines.
Thank you so much.
And excited to see what the next couple of years will bring you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking and sharing all of this with you, which is the first time I share the other side of my job. Thank you.
I feel like I got the first. Yes. I got the first exclusive, the exclusive interview. Thank you.